This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello and a massive warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend Podcast. It's Irish Derby weekend and the Plate weekend. Brian Ellison loves winning the Plate. He won't be winning it this year. But never mind.
Is he?
Never won it. He wants to win it. I think it's his dying wish to win a Plate. Joining me tonight are my top panel on the flat anyway, being as we're all useless on jumps. It's myself, John Lane, Quentin Franks and Jack Veach. Good evening, chaps.
Evening, Lee.
Evening, Lee. Evening, all.
Yep, evening. Like the Waltons in it. Right, so coming on to round of betting, three best bets from each panellist before we talk about the television races, and we'll maybe have a little look at Sunday, Irish Derby, etc., to see if we can get the favourite beat in any shape or form, or maybe look for value in that. Right, 1 point round. John, coming to you first. Kick us off.
1 point round Riverview Law. 157 Chester. I think this is ideally placed himself, or I think the ones inside won't do the business. I think this can ping out, get across, grab the rail, and lay them a merry dance here. Shower horses know the dance round here. Yes, very rarely has juveniles run poorly. Sam James again knows the dance. I think it's very solid for the frame roll, or 1 point win.
1 point win. Why did this catch your eye? Just out of...
I just liked it as a type, really. It was what I would class as a good start that'll go forward.
Yeah, and we always know that Grant's need a run. Grant never has them. Never. His first time out winners are just, I don't think, never. If he does, it's worth noting. Always leaves them short. So 8-1 for John. Generally available to kick us off on Riverview Law. Thank you, John. Quentin Franks.
I'm going to kick it off, Lee, with the 3 o'clock at Newmarket. Don't really like the race, to be honest. Don't really like many in the race. Don't appeal with well-handicapped sorts. But the one that I think is a fair bit ahead of a mark of 83 is Dora Milaje. Did very well to win at first, overcoming steady fractions. Value for a good deal more that day. Form appeals are strong. Corey Glory's come out and won since the third. Ed Walker's Tarada bolted up at, where was it yesterday? Nottingham. And I think she's just been letting lightly here. You got top of the market. I don't think Royal Charter's well treated. That was a bunch of moderately handicapped horses at Haydock in a race she ran in. One morning, I think, needs softer. Chalami was on the right part of the track at Newbury, and Dora has already got the beaten average injury here. 1 point win, 7-2.
7-2 generally available. I love that. I love that bet, Quentin. I think you're definitely right with this. I think it's very well enough 83. I think you found it a nice bet to start us off. Banker for punters. On the slot pit at Newmarket, 3 o'clock tomorrow. Dora Milaje. Cheers, Quentin. Jack?
My first bet, Lee, goes in the Chipchase 12.55 at Newcastle, and no surprises, Tiber Flow. I think this horse has ran pretty promisingly on the 2 starts this season. He's ran into Creative Force in a bit of a trappy race at Haydock last time out, but I thought he's come on pretty well for that, and looks at a decent 4-year-old. His all-weather record's pretty strong, 2 from 3, all three at the track actually. He was a head short in the all-weather finals to El Caballo last year, which I think is pretty decent form. Noticed quite a lot of pace in this race. I think it looks like a Judicial, Iconic Moment, Mount Athos all like to go forward. I'd like to see them sit pretty handy, and I think it could become a bit of a staying test, and he does stay the 7. So I'm hopeful that he'll have a bit of class in the race. Wasn't overjoyed with the price. It's been a lot of blue on odds checker today, but I thought the 7-2 was fair, made him a little bit shorter, and pretty confident 1 point win selection.
Yes, we all felt that pain when El Caballo held him off last year.
Certainly me.
Yeah, me as well. All the box were on it last year. 7-2 for Jack to kick us off with Tiber Flow. Bear in mind, though, with Newcastle tomorrow, folks, wind form. It's a huge crosswind, which will suit horses getting cover. It's probably in the faces as well. It's a straight westerly, which isn't quite in the faces, but it's sort of it's going to damage one's going handy for sure tomorrow. So that draw will be vital at Gosforth tomorrow. I'll finish us off. And on that point then, my first bet is a bit of wind form. 12.20 Newcastle is where we go. I'm hoping Paddy Power and Betfair haven't got the inside track here. There's their best price at 12-1 on the Fat Gordon runner, Coachello. I think this has got a major chance. It's won out in Javai, at Maidan. It's got some very strong form at a better level than this. Some of these are coming up from Class 3s, like Ratea, Class 3. That wouldn't be good enough, despite Steve Brown and Julie Camacho in amazing form at the moment. But I think that's too short, Ratea, 11-4, 5-2, and this at sort of 12-1 is huge. As long as Paddy's and Betfair don't know something, I think Coachello will get the nice trip towards that stands rail, which could be key tomorrow with a bit of cover. So Coachello for me, 1 point on the nose. Right, round 2. Who shall I come to? Jack, I'll swing it round to you.
Yeah, so sticking at Gosforth Park, Lee, and we're in the 205, the plate itself. Horse I like in here is Michael Bell's Adjuvant. I think there's been obviously a lot of money coming for the Golden Rules today, probably because the owner went and said it would win. So I'm quite happy to take that on. I think it was 11-4 at one point in most places, come out a little bit. I know our friend at Betfair, Butterbean, has put this one up, so the price is on the wane a little bit. But no, I like this horse a lot. I think this race has been in mind for it for quite a while. Last time out at Newmarket, saw the 1 mile 6 out pretty well. I think he was pretty strong through the line. Second time before over course and distance to a Nectar HMS President, who ran really well at the Royal Meeting, was unlucky to get touched off. And I can see this horse just staying all day. You know, he's not the quickest, but I don't think the step up to 2 miles would be a problem. He's drawn pretty nicely in 7. I mean, if you look at Post Impressionist, who's market rival, drawn out in the car park at 19, I think he's going to struggle from there. So I think quite a lot of pace amongst the lower drawn, and I think he could be a classy horse in this race. And I'm going to go Betfair SP on this one, because I think, you know, looking at the competitiveness of the field, I think the price, as I said, has been chopped a little bit in the last 24 hours or so, and I can't see many people steaming into a Michael Bell horse in a race as competitive as this. So yeah, quite happy to go 2 points win Betfair SP.
Lovely, jubbly. I like it. And Adjuvant, of course, did amazingly well to beat Pons Alias at Newmarket from track position. I mean, you say, Jack, that the horse is slow. I tell you what, to do what he did to nail Pons Alias and go clear was some performance. He just might be improving as a 4-year-old, and I think that's got a major chance. Adjuvant. I was very close to tipping him myself, or he certainly one I won't be losing on Adjuvant in the race. Okay, my selection's in the same race, and Adjuvant is a close second to mine here. Nathaniel Green. Andy Richmond's mentioned this a few times. Hey! And this time, this is the day, I think, because if you look last season, was it because I was on Giavolotto that Nathaniel Green managed to beat that? because it is, isn't it? I was on that. So Giavolotto got chinned by Nathaniel Green. The form last season's strong. You look at the fourth behind Post Impressionist. This lad's a bit of a thinker, I think. You know, I don't deny that. But the fact that he was beaten, 3 3/4 lengths by Post Impressionist in last year's York race in the autumn. Post Impressionist was off 87, Nathaniel Green 90. Today, we've got a weight pull of, what have we got? It's something like £8 or something. So we're £8 better off the starters. We were favourite in the race anyway. I think he'd had enough after his Giavolotto shenanigans. What's interesting, though, chaps, 2 slowly run races this season. Courage Mon Ami, we know what that's done since, obviously won the Gold Cup. But 2 slowly run races wouldn't have suited him. And look what's gone back on. The Pieces and the Drunk at Zeddy in the saddle. He likes to push away and row away. I think Nathaniel Green will go very well, and 9-1 is available. So it has been bet, but I still think there's a bit of juice in it. I think that's got to go close. If you're playing each way, I'm only trying to catch these fulls at the top of the nap table, so I'm going win, 2 points win. But if I'd have been playing this with a straight bat and I'd have been up with Quentin and in the league of gods up at the top of the table. I would have played this obviously each way and pinched all the places. So yeah, 2 points win. Nathaniel Green 9-1. Quentin.
My second bet, Lee, comes in the 16-10 at Newmarket. Also in question, Dog Fox. Kind of felt he's been on the upgrade all season, and at Chepstow, I kind of feel Kieran Schumacher made his move too soon. He was travelling all over the field, and he kind of put him into the race too soon. He just faded out of things. So I think it's a combination of 3 runs in the space for a short enough period of time. He's had 29 days off the track, and the way he went through that race suggests he's still well handicapped off a 74. You look at the race and there's not really much in it. I feel there's going to be a strong pace on the cards. You got Blue Flag flying high at the top of the market. That's JD and got a solo at Ripon. Don't like that. Zara's return well positioned at Sandown. Don't particularly like that. V12 will be up in the van as well. Think that needs softer ground. The Therapist isn't well handicapped and looks soft at Carlisle. I think he travels all over these and wins handy here. To be honest, 4-1's a fairly big price. Would kind of have him more 9-4.
Yeah, 4-1 indeed. Generally available. Fuck. Pause for thoughts. Just pissed. I've not had a bet. More pain. There we go. It's great recording these things, and you're watching it live, and you think, "Oh fucking hell!"
Oh, slip or breakdown.
Not sure. They might abandon meeting, hopefully. Yeah. So, that'll please all the 11-4 market value backers, won't it? Into even money overnight. The Agasaurus. Yeah, you wankers. Yeah, non-runner. Anyway, coming to you, John, to finish the round.
Another one that regular listeners will be familiar with, 315 Newcastle, Megburn, Gobby Rog. Yes. Was withdrawn at the start of his intended second run at Hamilton. We managed to secure some 40-1 before that. I think we'll get some 33s before this. There was a bit of money floating about for him, so I think they were expecting an improved performance from the Beverley run. I quite liked the Beverley run. I thought he showed plenty that day against more experienced horses and higher grade horses than you'd run into in a maiden. The variant horse that's favourite here, that hung a bit on grass first time out. I wasn't particularly taken with that. Ryan's horse is dropped in trip despite being bred for further, so I think he's probably proving hard to settle. You're going to need to settle here because it takes a bit to get home at Newcastle, I think. So I think we've got every chance of being in the frame here, point each way.
Lovely. 30. Who doesn't like a 33s perk from the Naps table leader at the moment? Yeah, I'm going to have to look at that more closely. I've got to confess I've not looked at that race in full yet, so I'm going to give that a look after the show. Cheers, John. 33s. Lovely. Right, max bet round. Who do I come to first? Quentin, give me your max.
Max Betley comes in the 245 at Windsor tomorrow. Don't like the favourite in it, Mana Canudo. Well positioned in a race at Haydock, not bred to be wanting to step back in trip to 6 furlongs here. Horse I want on side is, where's the name? Chagrin, Clive Cox trained horse, which shaped very well on debut. Liked him as a type, and just shaped like needing a run at the end of the day. Made a promising move more towards the unfavoured stand side rail that day. Blew up in the closing stages a hell of a lot better than the 11 length distance he got beaten. You kind of look at the form of the race, it's very strong form for a novice. It's a decent novice. You've had Thunder Blue come out and win its novice in a good time. Twilight Romance, good time at York when winning. Soldier's Gold won at Carlisle the other day. Invincible Friend won a novice at Chester. Daring Legend was back from 25s into 5-2 the other night at Kempton, and I just expect a lot more to come with a run behind him. Coxes have needed it as 2-year-olds this year. 1 from 12 first time out, 0.58 actual over expected. 4 from 8 second time out, 1.50 actual over expected. He's going to improve a hell of a lot for the initial experience, and 15-2 is a chunky price.
Wow, great reason. Absolutely love that. 15-2 available. Yes, William Hill, ACT and Bet Shyster. So yeah, lovely sort of price on Quentin for his maximum there, 15-2. What will that last about as long, John? You know, Anyway, right, we'll move on. I'm coming forward to my 3-pointer before we go to John and Jack to finish off the round. Goes at Newcastle. I've tried to stay at Newcastle because with wind form, it might help a bit. But this is not really wind form. It's 130 there to the Vase, isn't it? The plate consolation. Quite perplexed at the price here of La Hacienda, trained by Juice trainer Matthew Smith. Sends it over, and this needs a second look. 9-1's available in 2 places, which I'll gladly take for me 3 points on the nose. But you look at this horse; it's improved quite markedly. Ran at Down Royale last week and was third in a listed race. Not the strongest of listed races, but I accept. But it ran very, very well, and this is off 86 in a handicap, which I think he's very well in. And the reason I say this is because it's a free eagle, and free eagles do better on the all-weather. And I just like the switch from turf to dirt, if you like. And I thought in a race where there's nothing really that well handicapped, you look at the Kilt horse off 102, and there's a few others in here like that look really. Blow Your Own's in fantastic form, but going up the weights gets a £7 penalty. I just think there is room for the mark for La Hacienda. And it's interesting that he's booked Harry Davis, taking the 3 off as well. Probably the best £3 claimer around at the moment. So that even knocks the mark down further to, it'd be 82, looking at the racing post. So 82 for Hacienda. I thought that was a good bet. 9-1, 3 on the nose. Jonas.
3-point rounder, exciting times. I'm off to Doncaster, 9 o'clock.
Yep.
New Tycoon. I was quite interested in backing this first time up this year. The trainer told me this was well in need of the run. He backed it up by running like a horse, well in need of the run. Expected it to sit much fitter here. Reasonable waiting rider vote, I would say. Won't be stopping this one. And not a lot of pace on it. I'm a little bit worried about that. In an ideal world, he's maybe playing running, but I think he's got a fair bit in under his mark, and I'll go 3 points win.
Wow, 3 points win, John. I mean, what we're talking is 16-1. I think he's available. Just like the producer is generally available. So 16-1 is available for John's James Horton maximum bet. Love it, on the nose. Jack, finish us off. Can you beat 16-1 for your best bet?
Well, the factual answer is, Lee, that I don't know, because we're going so far into the weekend. We haven't got a price yet, but we're all the way to the Curragh, 5:25 on Sunday. So hopefully either one to top off a top weekend or get us all out of jail. But who cares as long as it wins. Horses Aidan O'Brien, Salt Lake City. Horse I really liked last year. Backed it in its maiden, won really impressively. They then, annoyingly, they ran it as a pacemaker in the, I don't know if I can say Vertem Futurity anymore, but we'll call it the RP Trophy. And pretty sure it picked up an injury off the back of that, running on the slot, going silly fractions at the front. Obviously set the Derby winner up for the race. But what I was really impressed with was his reappearance first time up. He went down a neck to Moon de Vega. But if you go back and watch the run, urge anyone potentially backing this too. He got stuck on the rail, had to angle out for a run, and absolutely stormed home over the 9 furlongs. So the one negative I'd have is possibly the trip, but I think that's countered by his drawing too. Ryan on board, we've seen many a time how well he sets the fractions at the front round the Curragh. So obviously not knowing where the market is going to sit, but I presume they're going to stick in the Weld filly as the fav. Ran 4th in the Guineas, obviously Coronation Stakes winners gone and made that look decent. But no, I really like this colt, and I think this could be one to follow for the season. But I think he's good enough to win this. And from my view, I think anything around the sort of 5-2, 11-4 mark would certainly be a bet. I couldn't see him opening much shorter than that. But we shall see, and we'll go with SP. But very confident selection, 3-point win.
So you happy with Betfair SP?
No, we'll go with that. Obviously hard to judge what it will open at on Sunday, but I think we'll get a fair price regardless.
Good stuff. Right, Salt Lake City. Yeah, I agree with Jack there. As shaped really well last time. Did you comment on that last time, Salt Lake City?
Don't think so.
I'm sure you said something. No, I'm sure you said something about if they don't aim it too high, this will be all right. I don't know.
I'm getting a bit senile, mate.
You might not have. It's just I ain't got your notes to hand, but yeah, I'm sure it was. But anyway, we'll carry on. We've got lots of TV bonanza over the weekend, obviously with the Curragh on Sunday and the free-to-air ITV fair. Let's hope Francesca on to talk about blood sport. And
I enjoyed that.
Well, this is it. I've seen some debate on this on it sounds like a sermon now, but I've seen some debate on this on Twitter, and apparently we're going soft because we sort of against blood sports. But
when did we say we were against them?
I think Lorne Malvo said he doesn't like.
Yeah, just because we pointed out that people who go hunting tend to be cunts.
It rhymes for a start.
Yeah, the hunt cunt, the cunt hunt. Yeah, absolutely. But just to me, it seems, what's the word? Like 1990s, in that we have moved on. That point is correct. That like now the language is so different. Ban fox hunting. They compare fox hunting to bullfighting, shit like that, and that's there were points made anyway. But I don't know. I don't think we're going woke. I hope not. Don't want any of that shit. Yeah.
Thanks on a permanent 24/7 walk watch.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Jeff will tell us. Right. So 12:20 Newcastle is the opening race. Obviously, I've tipped in it for wind form. Paddies don't like wind form because they're big prize. So what we're saying, chaps? Any view here? I'm not sure there'd be much. Maybe.
Yeah.
The one that appealed for me was Batal Dubai 1-from-1 on the sand. Decent figures on the clock. Just shaped like he needed the run, to be honest, as many of the yards have done this season. Harry and Rog. Windsor form looks strong, in all honesty. You've had the third horse Eminency come out and run well in that strong York handicap. Spartan Arrow clocked a good time at Goodwood. Still think he's on the upgrades, unexposed. Murphy on top, kind of thought 13-2, 6-1 was more than fair.
Okie doke. Yeah, Quentin, cheers. Jack?
Yeah, quite like your angle, Lee, to be honest with you. I don't think Big Gordo would send one over for a laugh, would he? And obviously, yeah.
He would. He's a cunt.
Would he? Night out in the Toon, maybe. But yeah, no, fair enough. But no, I like that angle. I mean, Ratir is won the race last year within sort of £3 or £4 at this mark. Looks a strong fav, but at the prices wouldn't appeal. So I sat this one out personally, but certainly agree with your reasonings.
I want to say, what price?
He's got a funny sense of humour, Big Gordo, like, hasn't he? I mean, he'd probably have to send one over and kill it and then sit on it. That's if he was doing it for a laugh.
Jack, you follow your Maidan. I mean, this beat Man of Promise in Maidan.
Yeah, I follow my Maidan, not very successfully, but I remember watching that race thinking, how the fuck has that won? I think I backed something else.
I'll tell you why it won the ground. It has to have soft ground on turf or the all weather. That's the only scenarios. And I also think a straight, this is why I think they've come here. Because, like, obviously when they've ran, like, certain places, it's, like, involves a bend and shit like that, like Lingfield. They ran against Noble Dynasty. They brought it over against that. Yeah. Held up last round that shit pit. And that was that done. So this I think is perfect. The galloping 6. So I hope Paddy's not got info on that. Right, 12.55 is the Chipchase. 7-2 Fav is Brad the Brief with Tiber Fleur, Jack's selection. Any thoughts here, John? I'm going to come to you first. Any view on this?
A bit boring, but I tend to run with Jack. I think this is all right for Tiber Fleur. I don't think he's much up his sleeve, but I think he is what he is, and I'm pretty sure he'll beat Spycatcher and Mount Athos and Brad the Brief spin off a bit. So yeah, I'd have to rock on with Tiber Fleur, I'm afraid.
Good stuff, Quentin.
Make that free, like he could arguably argue.
Maybe
5 of the same, couldn't he? Like ran into El Cabello, unlucky not to win that day. I just think he's a better horse on the all-weather. Like, steadily run race didn't suit last time out. We'll get a decent gallop to aim at here. He's the solid one in the race. I think 7-2's overpriced.
Let's hope Tom Marquand's on all fours tonight, as Ollie's giving him a good hiding and telling him to ride it chilly and make sure that you get that cover. Don't be exposed to that horrible westerly wind blowing in at 22 miles an hour with 40 mile an hour gusts tomorrow afternoon at Newcastle. So let's hope Ollie tells him to do that. Speaking of which, Quentin, you didn't like Kevin Stott's horse at Windsor. You tipped against it. He's come back from Mykonos to ride this.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Mykonos.
We're going on empty-handed.
Yeah, there's been some fabulous pics on Instagram from Stotty and old Megs this week for you viewers. If you don't follow him on Instagram, worth a follow for sure. Pretty much.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. Lovely. Right, the 130 is the Northumberland Vase. Blow your own. I mean, it just gets worse, doesn't it? Talking about
rate the cells on here, don't
they do, yeah. It's like very Terry and June, isn't it? 4-1 Fav, blow your own. Obviously, I've tipped the Irish in this. I think that's got a major chance, to be honest. So, give us your thoughts, Jack.
I like Winter Watch here. I think it looks as though he was laid out for something like this. Good win at Kempton this time last year of £6 lower. Fair form lower hurdles. Bigger failed in Oakley Gallop. Should get him to drop it because he's been going a bit keen. So that was a nice pipe opener 3 weeks back. The trip was way too short. He's got a fair draw in the centre. I just hope he doesn't drop too far out. It is Graham Lee. That's my worry.
Yeah. And he did only beat Mucky Magic when he won, didn't he?
Yeah, he's lately raced. I think he's got a bit of scope to find a bit.
Good stuff, John. Yeah, big price. Quentin?
My fourth bet on, well, if I had 4 best bets, the fourth one would have been Citizen General in this. Not sure why he's a bigger price than Happier in the race. Appeals like he'll get the trip, to be honest. I'm not sure Happier will. Trouble in running, ends up wide and ideal at various parts in the Lingfield race. Strong on the clock. Pieces go on. Visor goes off. Neil Callan on board. Think he will get the trip. I've got no qualms about that at all. Thought 8-1 was on the large side.
Just the trainer.
Yeah. Dead Dunlop, not so dead these days.
Well, God, it's like the old. You see a horse, and you think, "Oh, this is nice." I mean, look at that thing that we liked the other week, Lataba, that ran at Aydock. What was that all about? Do you remember it?
It came from nowhere, that head carriage, didn't it? Like, it looked straight as a die at Beverley, head down, trying through the line, and then all of a sudden just looked doggy.
Yeah, weird. I mean, good for John because he tipped the winner Joe's Rainbow. But yeah, where did that come from? But Jack?
Yeah, I was with you on the Matthew Smith Carrots angle, really, Lee.
Yes, could be. Let's hope so.
Marker 90 comes off here off 85. Thought ran well last time out in that listed race. Obviously higher grade than this. Got bumped around a little bit in that race. Didn't really have the best time of things. And yeah, thought the price was a little bit bigger than where I'd make it, to be honest. So I'd be siding with you there.
Yes, let's hope it's got the Roadrunner meep carrots in. For the Matthew Smith train La Hacienda, right? The big one, 205. The big, right? This is like Nancy Drew mystery here. The Golden Rules, 7-2. Was 3s at one point today. Best price. Deborah Faulkner. This is just sprung from nowhere. Is this because the owner's a pikey or something, and then he's got all the pikeys going around smashing it all up in the shop?
Put the frightens on everybody else, and they're all standing there.
What's happening with this? How on earth is this 7-2?
Yeah, that's a lot of shit, isn't it? You can't back that.
Quentin, are we all going insane? I mean, all right. Basically, what we're saying is that they got it off Johnny G, 6 bags. So it's obviously had a big problem because obviously it was off for best part of 18 months. And I know there's some bargains to grab with us. If they do a tendon or something, big yards can't be asked. But this had the easiest of easiest leads on the planet Earth at Kempton when it did win nicely, I admit. But the sectionals bear it out that the time shit. First Emperor came from the back. And what's first Emperor? The third's Diamond Bay. The fourth is De Vegas Warrior, trained by Mick Appleby. This is going to be the falsest flag I've just about ever seen.
Yeah, the owner's talking out the wrong end of his cock, isn't he?
There's something wrong with it. I know O'Sheen's been booked. Quentin, what do you think?
Doesn't finish in the frame.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Place lay all day, isn't it? Really?
You've got wind form. He's got, like you said, he's got the softest of softest in front. You've got a strong headwind that's going to be in his face. It's not a bad race. You've got well handicapped sorts in it. This will be out of the 5.
We all know how Kempton's been riding from the front recently as well. So yeah, I know it was 108 days ago, but to be fair, I never want to back anything coming from miles off at Kempton anyway. But it just I don't know. It's
price does it go off? I reckon he heads out to double figures.
12 on the machine or something.
The machine will take action tomorrow at that. If that's going to be anything round favouritism, I can't have it. Golden rules, yeah. So we've ruled that out. We can't have that. Adjuvant was Jack's tip, and I like that, the way that nailed Pons Alias when it shouldn't have nailed Pons Alias. He had no right to nail Pons Alias. Nathaniel Green is my choice. So I'm going to come to Quentin and John now to go through what they think in the plate.
I think Bar of the Sea has an excellent chance. He has backed up a recent run before in his career, so I'm not too worried about him having run a fairly hard race at Ascot. I just think the lower draw LP, because he won't be trapped as wide as he was at Ascot, he'll get a bit of cover. Also, I think this is definitely a mark he can win off 92, and I think a reasonably even pace here will help. Dropping back Jill Furlong's won't hurt either, because I think he just got the end of his stamina at Ascot. So I think he's very, very solid for the frame.
Yeah, strong form, John, I agree. It's another contender for sure. So I like it. Gets the old cheap pieces on for the first time as well. Quentin?
I'm going to have a few darts at the race, Lee. Small darts. I'm going to Nathaniel Green. I'm chucking that into the mix. One at a large price that I think will run better than its price. I think he's like 55 on the machine at the moment. Mountain Road, better profile on the all-weather rather than turf. Shaped like he's coming to the boil. Caught further back than ideal round Goodwood, just dead in the market as well, and just kind of ran a race that suggested that the future was in mind for him. It's the right sort of track, right sort of wind form for a Simcock horse with Cam Hardy on top. I can't let him run free at that price. Like, his all-weather form suggests he's got races in the off a mark of 86 in the bag. The other one is Vino Victrix. Couple of spins on turf this year. Went well enough for long enough at Chester on soft ground. Trip kind of stretched him at the end and hampered on the home turn. Down a couple of pounds. I know Benoit doesn't get a claim to free, but solid all-weather profile, doing well. To when he come second at Kempton, did well under the circumstances, and yeah, still think he's got progression in him off of this mark. They'll be the 3 I'm throwing darts at.
Yes, and I think your price is sort of given to you by the fact, obviously, disappointed on his last 2 starts when he just doesn't go with cutting the ground, like you said. So I think that's a fair shout. So some fair shouts at prices from Quentin as well to add to the race. So the Golden Rules were predicting a huge drifter on the exchanges after the Parkies have done the shops down Stratford way in London and everywhere else. Shops all over in London done to pieces with this. This will win, said the owner Gareth Cheshire. An idiot. Right, we move on to Newmarket tomorrow, where we start with the Empress Stakes. This, I thought, was quite a fair renewal, to be honest. I think Star of Mystery is, it's second to John's major fancy for next year's Classic, Carla's Way. Obviously, he was very upset that she ran at Ascot. He thought that wasn't the right race. But Star of Mystery then bolted up by an innings and 240 runs next time out. And he's 11.08. Chaps, discuss.
The money's surely significant for Rare Hill.
Yes. Haggis wouldn't normally throw one into a listed race on debut, would he? It's very unhaggis.
I mean, he's got a lovely marker into this race with Indispensable that's got formula with LaGuardia and whatever. I mean, this just rakes, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was my thoughts.
Only thing I would say about that, if it hadn't been Clipper, I'd agree with that angle. I think Clipper probably, I'm not saying like they'd roll over Agus, but They just might want some tickets for afternoon or something. I don't know. But yeah, I get it. It's a very interesting placing. Well noticed. Exceed and Excel though. He's not chucking plenty on tonight, is he? The idiot.
Oh, well, there's the first.
Who knows?
And Exceed and Excel chopping up that lovely. I mean, did you see the Twitter things? James Knight going on about the overwatering bores and stuff like that. What does he mean, bores? What do you mean? So you can't have a bet because you want to back a fast ground sired horse and then it ends up sort of like cutting top off. Everyone sees Newmarket and looks at times. There was a tailwind that day, and secondly, like they were cutting a lot of top off, and I think it's an unpleasant sight when they do that. John, me and you reckon, don't we, that does tendons? We have a theory.
I'm absolutely convinced of it. You know, I mean, if you're going to wrench your tendon, you couldn't have anything better than firm under the topsoil where it's loose on top. I mean, yeah, horrendous, but you know, we'll never ever have any stats for it, will we?
No, we won't. Quentin?
Kind of want to be against the favourite, not really sure what with at the moment. I know she bolted up, but there was a rail bias. It doesn't really seem to be noted anywhere that there was a massive rail bias.
There was.
That day. She was a bit keen. She was fizzy early, and then she was slap bang on the stand side rail the last furlong and a half, 2 furlongs, and scooted away there. Most of the field were more towards the centre of the track. I think it's more style over substance at this stage. What a question. Decent time at Goodwood. We'll get the uncomplicated ride from the front. I think that's probably the solid one against it. Not really keen on Unbreak My Heart as a type. Very small. Yeah, I'll probably be playing What a Question against Star Mystery.
Good stuff. Jack?
Yeah, not much from me on this one. Leeds, Rare Jewel obviously caught the eye being unraced and chucked in at the deep end here. Yeah, I mean, I know John's a big fan of Carla's Way. I wouldn't knock the form based on the Albany run. I think that was just, you know, case of wrong race, wrong time for her. So, you know, I wouldn't be in a massive rush to take on the Fav, but yes, it's a no bet for me, this one.
Good stuff. Yeah, same for me. Gin and Pate for sure for me. So we move on to the 115, which is the Fred Archer Stakes. 11 to 10 Fav, New London. Wind for the first time, tongue-tied for the first time for the Appleby team and Will Buick. Interestingly, the shirt has Al Arzi in there. I cannot see that running if the ground is on top. If I don't know what people think here. I think this is a very good soft ground horse, and I can't see them running if this is riding on top. Thoughts?
Well, I can see him running him and just saying take it easy.
Yeah, there is that.
You know, if he's got him back, he's going to just want to get a run into him by now, I think. You know, you can say to Jim, can't it? You know, if he's failing it, just give him a float up. I hate these races on the July course. I think this could be right for a shock. This, if Outbox carts Doyle, they'll leave her alone. She could win this. Honestly, I fucking hate these small trails, man. Now, crap.
Completely agree with John.
They'll be all over the fucking track here, for
I mean, I imagine Kamari goes forward to help out do London, but you look at them. I mean, look, first time win, tongue tie. Al Arzi was meant to be sold to Australia but failed a bone scan. They're only running him because they got nothing else to do with him, bless him. So it's just, horrible little race, this one.
QF.
Nail on the head from Jack there, and John as well. Like, just not really, like, it's kind of like the whole Newmarket ITV card. It's unappealing fare, isn't it, to be honest? In my opinion, like, I'm not going to have a bet.
You're London to win by half a furlong, and everybody's, probably know why weren't we on that at 45? And then it could be last.
Well, if you think Al Arzi might just, I do. I think he just wants easy side of good Al Arzi to show his very best. Definitely one that could be a non-runner tomorrow. He's Al Dari. That is definitely a suit monster. His form does come with absolutely massive give underfoot. So does that even run?
Probably not.
Unless they just get some random showers or thunderstorm or something. I don't see. Well, how is that 7-4?
You might put 30 mil on tonight.
Yeah. He actually might. Right, Charlie Hills holds the record of shit trainers after Royal Ascot, John. So I'm just going with Pergo here, right? Because he stopped it in that were a ticket. They were. Well, what were he doing? He held it up.
I don't know.
Held it up last.
Ridiculous.
Fucking Pergo, it bounds off front. I mean, was that just? I don't know what that was. I don't even know what that ride was in the. Who decided? Yeah, we're going to hold Pergo up today. Thought that was a good idea.
Hills has learnt that you don't want to be making all the Ascot.
Yes.
Finally learned.
He's listened to the pod. He understands why Dave Simcock's the best trader in the land.
If he listened to the pod, he'd have fucking shut himself till we heard of it.
he actually would. Yeah. Right. So, any thoughts on this, chaps?
Yeah. It was like sloppy shit that they produced on the July course, so it'll probably run really well.
Right. So 33s for John.
Yeah, it was similar last race for me, Lee. I mean, if Al Dari runs and the ground suits, can't see him being beat. Pogo will, probably go forward. Won this race last year. You know, if it's decent on the top, I can't see him being beat if they return to those tactics. But yeah, we're looking at another very poor, small field, uninteresting race, sadly.
Can you imagine them? The pair are going to say this tomorrow.
Yeah. They're concert after.
Quentin, is there a concert?
Who's playing? Ollie Murs or something?
Is there one?
Well, every chance. I mean, that's. I'm just wondering why Clipper event had won in a listed race there. You know, whether they just want some tickets to go and see.
He's a big Susan Boyle fan. Clipper.
Yeah. It's Bastille that are played.
That's tonight.
Is that tonight? Is there no concert tomorrow?
Steve's bought tickets for the wrong day.
He has, yeah. Jack, do you like Bastille?
I have actually seen Bastille, Lee, back in the day. I wouldn't say but I'd find it more interesting than watching shit round the July course, to be honest.
Yeah. Quentin, does Pergo get an easy lead?
Pogo bounces out here, doesn't he? Yeah, there we go. I don't think he'll.
I've just got it. I'm so slow tonight.
I think we said the exact same thing last year, and it was your reaction was the exact same, Lee. So I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think he'll water tonight. There's like a small band of rain coming across, which should dump some on the July course, hopefully. I think if it's good ground, they'll run Al Dari. It feels like they're itching to get a run into him at some stage. Like, given the makeup of the race, he's obviously a massive part of it. You don't really know what to do with it. If he runs, I think he wins. If he doesn't, then Pogo's favourite at 13-8, give or take, something like that. Does Pogo appeal at 13-8? Not really, no.
No, he could be dead. He could be absolutely. Yeah, he could have lost his bounce. Yeah, for sure. So
gets tired at the end, and he's just going up and down on the spot.
That's a commentator's dream, that, isn't it? And and Pogo's just going up and down on the spot. Yeah, absolutely. It gets worse. Right? Is that tomorrow's TV fair done? Hopefully, it is. Tell me it is.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah, thank God for that. You can go and watch Tour de France after that, because that's why we've gone early, haven't we? Because it's Tour de France.
Hopefully.
Tomorrow, I think that's why terrestrial coverage is early, because of the cycling in the riot-ridden streets of France. They're all rioting in France at the minute and burning cars and all sorts. Let's hope they chuck petrol bombs at the peloton tomorrow. That'll make it actually worth watching. Right, we come on to Sunday. The Curragh. That interesting for the Curragh. John, you might want some cannonballs for Sunday if you're doing your studying later the weekend, because massive tailwind. Big tailwind at the Curragh, blowing them down straight.
Interesting news.
This could be cannonball. Anything that just blasts off, blast. They just don't come back. You know it. You've seen it year on year, like the Curragh.
Yeah, it's scuppered one of my bets already.
This could be the front-running bias track of the weekend. It could be all like front end, and everyone's gas back in the back markers. Anyway, so we'll just cover a couple. Curragh, the railway stake. John, you like Bucanero Fuerte. You're really impressed with this as a type, aren't you?
Yeah, I liked him very much. On debut, I thought he had Ascot written through and like Blackpool Rock. And I think he equated himself quite well there, I would have preferred to have seen him in an Norfolk, but, he can't have everything. He comes either form choice, I would say.
Yeah, well, Magnier in this has got a double chance of dropping his drawers and stood there in front of telly anyway, unquestionable and Bucanero Fuerte. He's whirling it round. He's going, as one of them's like sprinting 2 or 3 clear.
Magnier takes
Producers night.
Next to him at the races, and it's been an exciting finish, and he's never even made noises like that. So,
Well, I know, but it's Wootton Bassett. They've lost Galileo now, so it's actually getting his adrenaline going because they need a super champion. Quentin, Jack?
What's everyone's views on the favourite kind of backing up 10 days after Ascot? Like, really fond of backing.
Especially after the big gap after the first run.
Yeah, like that's a niggling doubt in the back of my head. Yeah, not really sure I want to be backing horses come from Ascot this soon. Like, you kind of had Urban Sprawl at HQ yesterday that fell out the back of the telly. That had just run the Hunt Cup, I think it was not Hunt Cup, the Britannia. I was quite interested. I am Invictus at a massive price. Ran the, what was it called, Pearls and Rubies close enough on debut on its second start. Just kind of think they skipped Ascot. 20-1 plus kind of appeals as well. It screams shock to me, the race. So I want something at a price, and that's where that's where I've fallen down on.
Before I come to you, Jake, what do we think to Ross O'Ryan riding for Amur and not Stotty in the saddle when he's just rode it in its last 2 races? What do we think?
If I was Ross O'Ryan, I know he had his big winner last week, but I'd tell these lot to fuck right off, to be honest. Like, for one, being replaced by Kevin Stott's got to be pretty humbling, and it has really. And I know a ride's a ride at the end of the day, but I can't see why he's offering his services up to this lot, to be honest.
But why is Stotty not on? Is he banned?
Well, he's at Windsor, isn't he? We said that earlier.
He's
banned in Ireland, I don't know.
He's at Windsor on Saturday, but on the Sunday.
Oh, sorry, this is Sunday, isn't it? Maybe straight back to Mykonos. He's got big night out or something.
Yes. Might be under orders, John.
Maybe we're going to pop the question. Can I have another turkey Twizzler?
She seems the type to pop him the question, if I'm being honest.
I think so. I think she'll decide.
She asked him some pretty serious questions, didn't she?
But yeah, not that you asked, Lee, but my views are similar to Quentin here. I think these two could possibly bounce at the top of the market this soon to Ascot, and I quite liked Unquestionable. I liked his run last time out. I think he might still want further than the 6, but I'm quite happy with him here. Ryan's picked him over His Majesty. As you said, Magnier and the Wootton Bassett angle, he'd be delighted with this one. And I think this is quite a nice colt, to be honest. So I quite favour him.
Next 2 races we don't need to cover because I've just told you it's blast off, it's wind form, blowing from behind the stalls, it'll blow them home. They can't come from behind here, they'll just keep rolling. Who's that song? Was it 5? Who's it? They did rolling. That's the Limp Bizkit, that's it. Fucking 5 and Limp Bizkit, I'm terrible. Limp Bizkit.
The hell of a mix up that.
Right, it is. So 2:25 and 3 o'clock, just play that song while race is going off. Don't listen to commentary because it might be Desi Scale who might die in the last 50 yards anyway when he goes. So we need some Limp Bizkit.
That sounded a bit more like Limp Bizkit.
Oh, fuck off.
Right. Limp Bizkit and 5. It's like saying Beyonce's taking over as lead singer for Cradle of Filth.
You can blame producer for that because she likes 5 and it were in my head. Yeah, she does love 5. Yes, she does. Absolutely does. 340 Curragh, the Irish Derby. Right, we need some value here. This is what people tune into our show for. Some nice big balls ices.
San Antonio, going Andy, going on early in the straight. 66-1.
Absolutely, John. I was going to echo that because he didn't handle Epsom. It sweated up like fucking, God, you say it, Rolf Harris and insert expletives. Whatever, Rolf Harris in a whatever.
Rolf Harris on Sparks Day.
It did. It boiled over. He just didn't run its race. Yeah, Chester's, it's only average form, but if that just blasts off, that could keep going and reward big each way support. That was my angle, John. Also, I thought Spreewell also would handle the track a lot better, and I don't know how you can punt White Birch until they can guarantee that the horse wants to come out of the traps, because it can't keep giving away lengths at the start. You can't do that in Group 1. That makes no appeal unless you're playing running for White Birch. Quentin and Jack?
After you, Jack.
Yeah, I was of a similar mind to you. You can't steam into the Fav at that price. And Proud and Regal was the one I thought was slightly of interest. He's been a little bit disappointing in his 2 reappearances, but I think this is his trip. I think we saw back end of last season, he needed every yard of that mile to get up in the Criterion. And I think that the extra couple of furlongs will suit. I mean, I think the thing you have to worry about is look how many of these are owned by the lads. Do they just set this one up entirely for the Fav quite lightly? But from an each way perspective, Proud and Regal was interesting. Yeah,
you make a good point there about setting it up possibly because they will not want the deep impact beat. No chance. Quentin.
Front end bias, concern with White Birch coming out the stalls and being in rear with the wind doing it no favours. No real opinion, but I'm going to throw play starts at a couple that are likely going to be on the front end. So probably San Antonio and where's the other one that led in the Derby? Adelaide River. Just the place markets, knowing that if they do try and set up, at least they're going to be out the front and with the wind behind them. So a couple of play starts at prices.
Exactly, and we have seen that in the Irish Classics before, where the pacemaker usually can hang on to sort of second, third, fourth, whatever, and if you're playing on the exchanges, that can be very rewarding at big prices. So we hope we set that one up for you nicely.
Not that these trends matter, Lee, but one very vaguely interesting point is that Ryan Moore has never won an Irish Derby, believe it or not, which you think the amount of short price Favs he'd have ridden in the race, it seems slightly interesting to me.
Do you know what? I've had this convo with John, and John for a while thought, and I agreed with him, that I didn't think Ryan was riding the Curragh very well, especially on the round course. He seemed to be a bit too far back in a lot of races, and obviously when the wind does blow from the west, it blows them home. So poor Ryan.
I kind of think he's got the hang of it now, though, don't he?
Yes, yeah, that's.
I think so.
Well, I think he's riding it different. He's rode it well this year, and certainly, I think Ryan's riding as well, I think, as he ever has. At Royal Ascot, he was definitely the most consistent jockey of the week. In terms of performance, there was less ricks from Ryan, I think, than any other jockey. He was pretty solid all week, and I think he's built this level of consistency now, and he's finally worked out at the Curragh that sometimes you just can't sit too far back, and so hopefully we can.
If it had been a lot of Ryan Ricks, it would have been a farce, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody's head.
Go on, you're gonna have to explain this because I'm shit. I'm really shit.
Ryan Ricks, the farce king, wasn't he? The West End farces.
Right, no, that is over my head. I'll be honest, that is yeah. But I'm sure some older audience will get that, and yeah.
I'll have appreciated that one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fucking shit. Let's be fair. That's the one thing through this episode we've all garnered. So, on that note, we hope you provided you with interesting ammo for the weekend. I'm sure we have. That's all from us. We're back on Sunday as normal, talking more bollocks. That's all from us. Bye for now.